Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I hope all of you are fine and doing well. So, topic here we are going to discuss it is the semiconductors. Basically, the word semi means a halfway, and the conductor means the substances that can conduct heat, electricity, as well as heat. So here semi mean it is the half or which is in between two terms. It is called as semiconductor. Now by definition the semiconductors it is a substance that has different resistances to the passage of an electric current under different circumstances. So the simple way is the semiconductor a simple substance that is having different resistance. So the word resistance is new to you. Basically, the resistance means if we are having any electric current and we want to pass it from one junction to other junction, now how it could be able to be passed? Basically, the semiconductors are they are having some resistance for the passage of these electric currents or the heat. In turn, they will help a different way for the passage of the electric current, and all the conditions are different. Now, the question arises what type of the substances can be help like a semiconductor? We have a lot of examples around this. So, what type of substances can be the semiconductor? We have a lot of examples that can behave like a semiconductor over there. And the first one thing we have, these are the main examples of the semiconductors, in which they include the elements like germanium, its symbol is Ge. It includes the selenium, its Se. It includes the silicon. It includes the lead sulfide compounds. It includes the silicon carbide, the cadmium sulfide, the lead tellurium, gallium arsenide, and the indium antimonide. All these elements and the substances are behaving like the semiconductor. Basically, the semiconductors have different properties, or we can say that their properties are in between the metals and non-metals. And the word metalloid, this is the word which is called as metalloid. It can be used for the semiconductor substances. Now, what are the main properties of the semiconductors and how do they work in real? So, we will have a look on this. This is a simple representation of the semiconductor in which we have the silicon type of the semiconductor. The first one, here we have the p-type silicon and here we have the n-type silicon. Now this is the positive part ends of the battery and this is the negative end of the battery. When the sunlight just falls upon its surface, now there is a flow of electrons that is started and it is responsible for the flow of electricity. And here you can see that this is a simple flow of electrons from positive towards the negative ends. And here the silicon is a substance that is working like a semiconductor. So this was a simple working of the semiconductors, that how do they work. Now we have some properties of the semiconductors. The number one property is they can be able to conduct electricity better than insulators. On the other hand, insulators are the substances that do not conduct electricity. They do not conduct electricity, and that's why they are known as insulators. And mostly the non-metals are insulators in nature because they could not be able to conduct electricity as well as heat. And what is the reason behind that? The non-metals could not be able to conduct electricity because they do not have free electrons, or the reason is this, they do not lose the electrons. So that's why they are insulators. They are called as non-metals. But when we have a look on the simple semiconductors, they are called as half conductors. Why they are called as half conductors? Because they can conduct electricity better than insulator but not better than the metals. So this name was given to this as a half conductor. Now the question arises that how well they conduct electricity. It all just depends upon the one thing, which is the temperature. Temperature. So basically when we heat a metal, For example, this is a piece of metal and we started to heat its one end. After some time, we just see that its resistance increases towards the heat. But on the other hand, when there is a semiconductor and we started to heat it, its resistance decreases with the increase of the temperature. So this is the reason that the semiconductor's conductance only depends upon the temperature, because by increasing the temperature, its conductance or its resistance decreases towards the heat. Next, its property is they are sensitive to light. Why they are sensitive to light? Because if we increase or the light intensity is increases, then that gives shines to them. They started to shine and they can conduct electricity in a better way. So this is the effect of light and heat energy that have a great impact on the semiconductors, and it just makes it useful substance for the better way. Now the last one, they are joined to the another material. They can be joined to another material with those who cannot be able to conduct the electricity. Likewise, the electrons of the semiconductors itself, they do not carry electric current readily. For example, if we have the electrons of the semiconductor, they do not conduct electricity readily. Rather than for the good conduction of the electric current, like the conductors, they are some joined with the other materials. Now, what type of materials can be joined with them? So, by joining with the other material, they can behave in a better way, and that junction maintained. In this way, the transistors are made in real life. Now, what are the main uses of the semiconductors? They are used in a lot of ways or in many ways. First one use is they are used in the manufacturing of the radio. Then they are used in the formation of the television, like the small transistors. They are used in the computer chips, like the germanium and silicon microchips are used in the computer. They are also used in the calculators. And last one use, they are used as a transistor. Now, what are the transistor? Basically, in the previous life, the smaller electronic tubes were used. Smaller electronic tubes were used, but with the passage of the time and as the science progresses, the transistors replaces these tubes. Now these transistors are less complicated and they work in a better way as compared to the older electronic tubes. So they are used in all these things, which one is a radio, television, computer, and calculator. So this was all about today's lecture. I hope you guys understand. And if you have any queries, you may ask me about that in the comment section. The next topic that we will discuss it is the uses of lead compounds in paints. For that time, you guys keep learning and have a good day.